Welcome. I am so excited for today's Enchanted discussion. And I want to welcome one of my favorite artists, Andrea Cook. And we're going to get into her story and amazingness. So welcome, Andrea. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Enchantress Shane.
Thank you. So as we were getting ready just now, there's a couple of things that we definitely want to discuss. And we were talking about too much. So I would love to know whatever you want to share as your background story. Like, I see you as fabulous and, free, and Pussy Power Posse was one of your tags in your street art. Where did you come from and how did you get there?
Well, it's funny because I came from Indiana. I was a white vanilla mom from the Midwest. And I ended up in New York City about almost 10 years ago and became an artist overnight. Like, it was just like came out of me, like I had to do it. And in my path to becoming an artist, it was about 5 years ago, I officially came out as an artist. And along my path, I've learned so much about the what did you say, something about the too muchness, like the it's a muscle?
Yeah,
totally. My too much muscle was so weak, like it was non-existent before I moved to New York. I remember taking my first selfie. That was like scary to put on the internet because it was like a selfie. How like vain is that? And it went against so much of my like Midwestern Puritan values that it was really hard for me to like face my own like looking beautiful in front of a camera. There's nothing really wrong with that, but somehow I was programmed, conditioned that was like, a sin, or it was bad to like adore yourself or take a beautiful photo of yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of learning about my muscle, that too much muscle. For sure.
I love that. And I can't wait for people to hear that like where you came from. And I love that you also said you became an artist overnight. Like, I love artists, and I think everyone's an artist, whether you're choosing to sell it or just do. So what was that like? How did you get to because from taking a selfie, which is true, we're not supposed to like what we look like. We're supposed to be like, I don't want a picture, or shrink down or something. So how did you get from, questioning taking a selfie and feeling all that to like Pussy Power Posse and using your art as a mom? That contrast, you're definitely not supposed to love yourself. And then like to be so out with even the word pussy as a mom, like how did that come for you?
Well, I remember when, and you said something really cool, and I agree with you. Like, I was born an artist, but I came out as a professional artist.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, and we are all born as artists, in my opinion. We're all creators, and that's what life is all about, in fact. I came out professionally as an artist. I just made the decision one day, and I recall telling people when they would say, what do you do? Or tell me something about yourself. When I would say the words, I am an artist, my lip would just like shake, like quiver. I was so afraid just to say, I'm an artist. What would they think of me? Do I look homeless? What, are they judging me? I could feel their judgment, and their judgment, anyway, back then, when I was coming out as an artist, when I was starting my too much muscle, training it, I had to learn to accept my role, to give myself permission or favor to be an artist, a professional artist, an international professional artist. And I'm not ashamed to say that. Like, I'm so proud. It's who I am. It's like in my soul, as a woman, as a human, that I'm a professional artist, and I've earned that title. So what was your question about, like, the how did I get from overnight to pussy?
Oh, well, right. So I love what your answer is, because declaring yourself an artist is edgy as it is. And then being a street artist and an artist that uses the word pussy, like that's a whole other level.
Yeah.
And involving, mom, because I think a lot of women watching are, even with the word pussy, like it's in our community, so it's not such an abrasive word anymore. And we also know it doesn't necessarily mean like genitalia. It's a movement. It's a revolutionary thing. And how did you get to Pussy Power Posse and having the courage to use that as part of your art?
Well, it's interesting. So when I first came out as an artist, my art subject matter was, I was fascinated about humans and robots and how they were crossing over. Humans were becoming like robots, and robots were becoming like humans, but that's not pussy at all. That's a totally different, like nerdy subject.
I didn't know that. Love hearing that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I started. And then I had this just like burning desire to have, I got my coffee every morning. I was working in an agency downtown in Manhattan on 5th Avenue and 26th Street, where the Museum of Sex was. And every morning I would get my coffee in the Museum of Sex, and I was so like, my awesome magnet was like, you are having a show here, get it. So I like met the right people. I got a solo show at the Museum of Sex.
Wow.
Like 6 months out of becoming a professional artist. It just was a vision, a desire, and I just made it happen. I manifested it. And then I had a one night only pop-up show, the Museum of Sex. Before that, I was like, I can't show robots and this nerdy like digital marketing art. I need to show like something sexy. It's the Museum of Sex, So I created all new art, and I created very large portraits, paintings of women who are like curvy and powerful. And there weren't a lot of them to choose from. This was like 5 years ago. I picked Oprah, I picked Beyonce, I did a Madonna, a Marilyn Monroe, I did a self-portrait. And at the last minute, I just was like, I'm gonna paint my perfume bottle that I like, because it's my new sexy, it's my new signature. And I just painted it on pink. And then I was watching Nicki Minaj on Saturday Night Live, and I was just like, instead of write Chanel, I'm just gonna write Pussy Power. And I wrote Pussy Power, it was on my mind. Then I put it in the show at the last minute in the very, very, very back. And there was a fucking line of people taking selfies with it. And there were a bunch of our friends there at that show, and we were all like, look at that, like people really like this. And I was like, the world is craving it. And at the same time, I was also having another burning desire to like sneak out in the night and be a street artist. Like I wanted to like put my art on the street. Like, I don't know. I didn't have any like motive from that. It was something I wanted to do. So the two desires collided, and I took that Pussy Power Chanel bottle and I started putting it on the street.
Amazing.
And people liked it.
And what I heard at your latest pop-up show was that you lived in you put it up in 25 cities around the world. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I don't know about 25 cities, but
25
addresses. Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, like I was back and forth to France and Miami. I go down there every year in December for Art Basel, Montreal, Berlin, Amsterdam, like all over New York and upstate New York. Like I was really, I guess, aggressive with almost the word compulsive, in fact. Like it was like I was so driven to like put the message up, because people were really identifying with this message, and they would reach out to me. They would see like Pussy Power, like a little sticker that like a friend or a fan would put up in the bathroom at some like a government official building in New York City, and it was at the migration office, and like other women would go to the bathroom and see it, and they would send me messages on social media saying, I saw this in the bathroom, I was interviewing for a job, it gave me real like strong inspiration. Or like one woman, a friend of a friend connected with me, and she said she saw it in the bathroom, and she was like struggling with her migration, her papers, and she felt like it was a sign from God. And she said it changed her life. Like there's all these stories like that really inspired me. And then that just like, I just knew when the world was craving it, and I wanted to give it to them.
Oh my God. I mean, I can't imagine. I'm sitting here with chills in my body because I work with women who are like, I don't know, I'm not ready. And I'm like, fuck that, And to hear you and to put your energy into this in a way that you did, it's like a geyser. Like, and that's what people were receiving. That's what I keep thinking of. Like,
nice.
Listen, yes. And so what would you say in terms of the word, like when we were talking about doing this today, you brought up resilience. And so I really love that word. And I love that word in regards to art, because art's subjective, and women and humans, we're sensitive, right? So how do you stay resilient? Or what's your take on that?
First of all, I guess I would want to ask you what your definition of resilience is.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like part of me, the little girl's like, I want to look it up. But I feel like resilience, like just hearing that word, I don't use it much, but like, how do you stay in the game? How do you keep your pussy power going in a world that isn't loving to the word pussy? Even people who secretly think it's cool might never admit it or might never say it, or still think it's like dirty or street or like beneath them.
Well, I guess people have to really, one thing I've learned about change is people have to be primed for it, like, and they'll be ready when they're ready.
Great.
And when I was in New York City, and I was also going through a separation with my ex-husband, I was ready for pussy power. Like I needed it, I wanted it, it called me, I called it, like we met in the middle. I was ready for it, and some people just aren't ready for it yet, and that's okay. I mean, the conditioning that holds us from it has been around for years, generations, so it's gonna be hard to break. And so I'm back in the Midwest now, and it's something that I've actually, just as a movement, I feel like I was one of the pioneers who kind of brought it into being and put it up all over the world and started the sparks. And we're all responsible for that movement and bringing that further, like what you're doing with your practice and, Mama Gina and all these, women who are really making decisions to bring this pussy power, feminist divinity into being. It's not really, as an artist, I'm still being called, but like, I'm not being called right now to continue the pussy power, anymore. Like I'm in the Midwest. I have, 2 daughters. You asked me about them earlier. One of my 13-year-old daughter is a little ashamed. And it's not like I'm denying it anymore or not talking about it anymore or putting shame around it. No, but I notice it makes her uncomfortable, and I don't want that. I want her to feel good and be proud of her mother. And I want her to see her mom as someone who was loving and supportive and encouraging and colorful and brave and courageous, not necessarily like like this, you know, pussy power, you know, it's just not the brand I'm identifying with in this chapter of my life.
I love that. That brought up so much emotion for me just now. And yeah, it's so beautiful. I think because what you're describing, you know, and I wanted to ask you, but you did it, you described it. What is pussy power? But I love that. It doesn't have to be like, this is it forever. And you're mashing it in people's faces. You're like, I did it. And now it's time to see what else is there. It doesn't mean a lifelong, you know, when I hear women fighting for what they want, I'm like, I back away. And I think there's a piece of the femininity which is soft and pays attention to who matters. And it doesn't have to be in this like fighting way, because if you're fighting, you're not winning anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And you came to my newest show, and there was some pussy power, like to show the timeline of my art. But, you know, I told you about my earlier series, which was Robot Shack, which was humans and robots. And then it was pussy power for a while. And now it's this candy. It's like, I want to kind of do this Andy Warhol, like, where Andy Warhol really spoke to the LGBT community, to gay men with, in a seductive way. He was more seductive about it. He didn't just write like, gays rule or I'm gay and like gay, you know, he painted a banana and, you know, he did other things that were more, you know, had subtleties.
Yeah.
That made him, I think, adorable, his art adorable. And that's what I'm trying to do with the candy store shop, you know, the candy shop. You liked it? Good.
Oh, well, it opened up so much because I was there with a friend, and you know, you have the ring pops, and my secret wish is that somebody would get all of them because it was feminine. It was childlike candy, right?
Yeah,
and it was also glamorous. So like all the facets of women, and it was such a beautiful, like just the physicalness of it, you know, and the color pop. It was playful. It was all the pieces of femininity, you know, and also of masculinity, you know, of all the pieces of like what we like as when we look at women. It's like the depth, the playfulness, the fierceness, and the fact that there were, I don't know how many, were there 16 or 12? It just was
20.
So 20.
The one grid, there were 20.
Yeah. It was so vibrant and full of life. And that's what I love about your art. And that's not just the pussy, but like the vibrancy,
the colors.
And the lollipop, the huge one.
Yeah. That says pussy power. That's like,
oh, they all do.
You know what I mean?
So does everything. And that, it's very general to say. But if you look through the lens of that, to me, pussy power is about freedom. It's about like, if I could say that, what else could I do? And so my hope and my intention of this is people will get inspired from hearing you. And also, you know, everybody, when there's an artist, they always want something more. But the artist gets to decide what, like you get to decide what you want to do. And that is more freedom. So. Well,
I think it has to do with like all that. When I said the world was craving it, I mean, I think it has to, it's a spiritual thing, and the timing and the divine timing of all the parties, the buyers, the artist, the creator, the you know, political landscape, you know, like everything that's going on, I think matters to it. We just have to be open, receptive, and just like kind of flow with it, you know, and jump in.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I'm going to post your links if people want to buy your art or be in touch with you. I think, you know, you're a great mentor. And I think for a lot of moms, single moms, that are just like, they don't know their place, or they have kids that are getting older and they like, what else? I've heard this so many times. I don't want to just be a mom. And I have some clients who are doing outrageous things and they're moms. And I think you're such a leader and an innovator. And I'm really proud and excited to know you. So glad we have this time to, you know, I want to make you shine more than
I do. And I really do have a lot of like experiences and perspectives. And I do have this like desire to mentor and share more like, stories, experiences. I mean, through like, you know, one-on-one or whatever, I don't know, but like, what?
I just, you know,
You
I
just
have
blessed
ideas.
me.
I'm like, oh yeah, of course you could have a mom's art group where they come afraid and they're like, wait, I
Yeah,
have ideas, and to do them. I
yeah.
mean, you're a great leader. You are a leader in that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, sweetie. I appreciate it. Thanks for, it feels good to be seen. Yeah. Yeah. And women, I mean, I think women struggle with their identities no matter what, you know, and then mom, and
Mhm.
then, you know, now are you a MILF? Are you, what are you? You don't fit in the category. You're a mom band, a soccer mom, or a MILF, or, you know, like, and then single or married, and then like single mom, like it's hard. It's hard. There's not a lot of role models, you know, people who are, you know, they like us in the media, I guess, are, you know, right? So
Yeah.
I think it is nice to connect one-on-one if possible. So yeah.
Great. Well, I will put all your information.
Okay.
And is there anything you want to, I don't know, anything you want to close with, or if you can feel somebody who that you know is watching, just in your mindset, that you want to give them?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to follow your desire, to speak up, to be yourself, to find yourself. Don't be afraid. I would say that fear or jealousy are things that those are doorways to your real destiny and your real identity.
Beautiful. I love it.
Thanks.
Well, I'm certainly turned on, and I'm like, maybe I should go paint right now, because you said doorways and I'm picturing doors. And so I would love anybody, even watching this, whether you see it on YouTube or Facebook, in the comments below, to just really stay engaged. You know, you can watch things and scroll by, but when you put your voice in the room, so to speak, or you put your words, there's something that happens and seeds are planted. So I'd love to know what your biggest takeaway is from hearing Andrea, and how it inspired the rest of your day, because that's what feeds humans, is like, how do we impact each other, and how does me hearing you affect my day? And that's how we join together as a community worldwide and really feel empowered.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
Cool.
that sounds great, Shane.
Awesome. Well,
I
thank
look
you
forward to
so
hearing
much.
from you. Okay,
Bye, everybody.
bye.
Bye.